We are live. What is up, everyone? I want to make sure we are live on multiple platforms right now, including the LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and we are live on Instagram. Let's go. And we are live on Solar Objections Facebook group. Let's go. I am Joe Moose. Please say hello. What's up in the comment section? And yes, I don't have any guests today. For the first time, I am not interviewing anyone. I'm interviewing myself. Let's go. So, what I'm doing is a new series. What I'm trying to do every Tuesday, I'm gonna go live, and I want to do a solar sales Q&A. I want to get out of my comfort zone. I want to give back to the solar community, and I want to make content. So I figured this is the best way to do it. Just get out there and put out there what I know and help as much as I can. And a big part of my focus and a big part of my passion is helping new people. So I want to bring this back to the basics and just start, from the basic knowledge, what you need to know with solar and solar sales. And if you guys want, I want you guys to join me. So if you look right here, it says "Join Me Live." If you go ahead and screenshot this right now, or just enter this in, you can join me on here. I don't want to be on here by myself. So if you guys want to join me, it'll be great. And we can do this together. I'm going to make this fun and easy. I'll have 10 questions I want to answer for you guys. And I want to make sure you guys are interactive with me. So get in the comments. Let me know what's up. Half the people who are going to be watching this are going to be new to the solar industry, new maybe in the sales background, new to solar sales, but the other half is going to be experienced, the pros, the veterans. So I want you guys to help me, but I'm going to focus on the newbies, the new people to the solar industry. Really give the basics. But if you see anything that I'm saying wrong, or I can say better, or I can teach differently, please, I want you guys to join in, throw your 2 cents in there. I want this to be a group engagement, group conversation. So before I start, though, everybody want to say what's up? Come on, get in the comment section and say what's up, and let me know where you're watching from. So before I get started, just in case some people may not know who this guy is, my name is Joe Moose. You can check out all my links at joemoose.com. I've been in sales for over 2 decades. I've been in solar sales since 2016, 8-9 years now. I've been in since COVID hit. I've gone into virtual solar sales. And now I am owner of SolarCon, the biggest conference in the solar industry, the baddest. And then I'm also owner of Virtual Solar Club, the largest virtual solar sales training platform in the world. And now I'm here to give back. I've been top of my game. I've been salesman of the year. I've averaged over 200 deals a year. I've been trained by some of the brightest minds in the industry, including Jake Hess, Jonathan Gibbs, Josh King, just to name a few. So I definitely have some knowledge in this area, and I want to be glad to give it out to you guys. So let's get started. If you guys want to join me, it's right here. You can screenshot this, type this into the URL. You can come in and join me. Maybe you can ask some questions or help me out, give back some answers, give back some training. Yo, I see some people in the comments. What's up? We got Mr. Josh King. What's going on? Glenn Myers, I see you. Rick Walsh, what's up, man? How are you doing? What's up? All right. I think Josh Resnick came in the room and kicked me out. What's up, Josh? Can you hear me?
I I can. I had to close the other tab, so I was getting it twice with the delay. My bad.
All right, my bad. Everybody, we're back in. Josh Resnick kicked me out for some reason. I'm just joking. But Josh is with Sungage and came in to help me out here. You down to help me out, Josh?
Absolutely. Just hanging out for a little bit. Thought I'd say hello. I love sessions like these. I think the experienced folks helping out the newbies is what makes this industry great.
Yeah, we got some fans too. We got Josh King saying, "What's up?" Fire. Glenn Myers, yo yo. Rick Walsh, what's up? All right, so I want to kind of what I was doing, Josh, is going to do 10 Q&A questions about what new people who are brand new to the solar industry or are going to ask things they're going to want to know. And you want to help me out with it? I'll answer, and then you can give me your 2 cents too. How's that sound?
Love it.
All right, so here we go, baby. Let's go. Thanks for jumping in. Anybody else? Just make sure everybody knows what's going on here. Oh, yes. Go right here. Go to StreamYard.com and put in this URL. You can jump on and just like Josh, jump in and be a guest on here with me. All right, Josh, would you do me the honor and ask the first question in the Q&A, baby?
You mean as far as like what a new sales rep would want to ask, or I
So
see it
right
right
there,
there.
and can you see it on the screen?
Yeah. Um, yeah. Basically, photons excite
No, go ahead.
electrons.
Just ask the question.
Oh,
So
sorry.
you ask the question, and then I'll answer it, and then you give your feedback after that.
Got it. I'd say one common newbie question is, what do you say to "I'll think about it"? That's.
Can you see the screen right here?
Oh,
Or
can you
no?
explain the basic process of
Yeah,
how
yeah.
solar
There you go.
panels
Just
convert
read that
sunlight into
question, and
electricity?
then we'll go from there.
My bad.
No,
I
this is
apologize.
the first one I'm doing, so I'm trying to keep it structured so that we can go
Mhm.
ahead and make sure each one is giving their value back to them as opposed to being all over the place. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. So number one, can you explain the basic process of how solar panels convert sunlight into electricity?
All right, this is fun, isn't it, Josh? This is the stuff like we nerd out about, right?
Absolutely.
Now, the way for homeowners, they're not scientists. They're not trying to understand the exact process of the science and the chemicals and the electricity. They want to know like how does it work. And for us, just to make sure we understand how it works, sunlight is just very, very, very simple, right? I'm not a scientist. I don't understand very, concepts that are too out there. This is not one of those, right? Sunlight hits the solar panel, hits the PV cell, the photovoltaic cell, that actually makes it bump into another cell, turns electrons into electricity. So the bottom line is that sunlight hits the solar panel, it turns that into electricity. Now it's going to be unusable electricity at first. So what happens is the sunlight hits the solar panels, turns into unusable electricity. What happens, it needs to turn into usable electricity. So unusable electricity is called DC, direct current. You cannot use DC in your home, right? What we have to use is AC, alternating current. So inverter is going to switch it from DC to AC. This electricity is going to be used by the home. Whatever it can use, it's going to use it all up, right? But the leftover electricity now has to go somewhere or it's just going to disappear, right? Like if there's leftover electricity, it needs to go somewhere. So that's where you can have a backup battery or storage system. Or if you don't have that, goes directly back into the grid. Now the grid says, aha, I got your electricity. Just like a bank takes your money, they give it back to you, but in credits, and they can start charging you what they want depending on what that net metering law is. So basically, the sunlight hits the panels. You're generating your own electricity. You're converting it to usable electricity. Home uses it, goes to the grid, and then the grid, the utility, the power company can charge you to get that electricity back because they pay for these lines. They pay for this infrastructure. That costs a lot of money, billions of dollars probably. So they have to make that money back, and that's how they make it. So that's kind of like the simplest way to explain. What do you think, Josh? How would you explain it?
Yeah. I basically just say sun hits the panels, it creates energy, and it flows back into your house. Electricity kind of flows like water. So yeah, you need an inverter to convert that energy into energy your home can use. But basically, your home will be using solar energy first. Any excess energy it needs, it'll pull from the grid. Or if you're generating more than you can use, the excess will overflow like water and go back to the grid. And depending on your arrangement with utility, it might spin the meter backwards, in which case it's often like rollover minutes on a cell phone. Otherwise, you may want to store that power with a battery. But yeah, basically, you can think of electricity flowing like water. It'll flow into your house first and then overflow back to the grid.
And for homeowners, they just want to understand that part. Have you noticed that you really don't have to over explain how the actual photovoltaic cells work? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I like to kind of keep it simple and think of breadcrumbs, and you want to leave room for people to ask if they have more questions. So, over explaining too early really kind of gets people to glaze over. So, you'd much rather keep it a little bit too short and have them ask because that feels really interactive. And then sometimes customers will overthink it a little bit. And so, you have to kind of remind them, like, don't worry, it takes a minute. But yeah, I've definitely had the conversation where think of it like rollover minutes with a cell phone, and that's it. And most people just want to understand what's happening, and they'll let you know if they want to go deeper.
What's important to know that solar panels just generate electricity.
Mhm.
Now, at nighttime, obviously, there's no sunlight, so you're not going to be able to generate electricity at nighttime, but you still need electricity. That's where either storing it or getting from the grid is going to be your other option. So you need to understand that so you're setting up homeowners correctly, right?
Absolutely. And in NEM3 in California, I like to say to people that you want to think of it like your best value is to bring the meter to a standstill. So you want to try not to send it back if you can help it. You'd rather store it and use it yourself later. But any kilowatt hour that you use that you've generated yourself is going to save you the most money compared to using it from PG&E or sending it back to the grid. And most people can kind of get on board with that.
All right, let's do it, baby. Let's go to the next question. So, just want to make sure everybody knows, just like Mr. Resnick with Sungage Financial, you guys want to join me? Go ahead to streamer.com, GIYMG5Z8Y, and be on here with Josh and I. And Josh, you want to do one more and bounce, or you have time for one more?
Yeah, let's do it. And I'm going to put the link into the chat because I just realized it wasn't clickable on the
Oh,
on the
good idea.
Facebook
Help me
thing.
out.
So there we go.
All right, here we go. Second question. This is, just for people who don't know anything about solar industry, what it is, how it works. You could be in different sales backgrounds. You could be just learning what solar is and how it works. I think no matter what, the world should know what solar is and how it works, no matter what. It's just good knowledge to have. So before we get to the next one, make sure you guys go streamyard.com. Join me on here, joemoose.com. A bunch of my links. You can check out what I'm doing. Here we go. All right, Josh, go for it.
Number two, what are the essential parts of a solar system and how do they work together?
All right. So there is not too much of a solar system. The solar panels obviously is the major part of the solar system, but it's really important to understand that solar panels are dumb. They're not they don't do a lot. They sit there, they absorb sunlight and they don't do anything. They just lay there and they don't do anything. They do that for a very, very long time. Solar panel is only one part of a solar system, though. You need to change electricity from DC to AC. So you have to have an inverter. There's different kinds of inverters. We'll get to that in a second, but you must have an inverter to have usable electricity. And it's also the controller. It's a smart inverter, so it can control that electricity where it's going in when you need to do it. And the other part of a solar system is the racking system. A lot of people forget about the racking system because it's kind of hidden and you don't see it. But without a racking system, there's no way to have the roof actually hold it. And that's one of the coolest parts about solar is that we could put it on people's roofs with no leaks, no problems for years, decades without any issues. But the other part that a lot of people forget is BOS. BOS is the balance of system, which just means miscellaneous, all the other stuff, the nuts, bolts, cables, wiring, all that stuff they take. So a lot of new people don't realize, they think solar panels is like, how many panels did you get? But there is more. Solar panels are dumb. The inverter is smart. It's like a laptop or computer don't last as long as a solar panel of metal piece of glass, right? So understanding the differences of how long each piece of equipment lasts is super important. Don't think it's the same thing. And Cooper, I see you out there. I'll bring you up next, buddy. Okay. Go ahead, Josh. What do you think about that? And any feedback or any afterthoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I would often explain the panels and inverters like engine and transmission. And I love the analogy about BOS because, especially if you think of, you can buy an engine and transmission separately, but that doesn't mean you have a whole car. You know, you need wiring harnesses and brake rotors and clutch pedals and all sorts of odds and ends that really add up, plus the labor. The other thing I like to explain to customers, because they can often get confused, and I use a lot of car analogies just because I love technology and mechanical stuff.
Way to
Um,
connect to people.
but thank you. But I would think of the kilowatt size of the system as the displacement of a motor. So it's like, okay, I've got a 3 liter V6 or a 4.6 liter V8 or what have you, and then the kilowatt hours it generates as the horsepower. And that I think is a good way for people to connect that the KW and the KWH numbers are totally separate things. I also love that you brought up racking because I think the installation, all the components, yes, those are commodities and you can find that exact component anywhere, but the installation is always one off. And so I used to like to remind people, hey, we're literally drilling holes in your roof. If done correctly, absolutely nothing to worry about. That said, are you sure price is the only thing you want to compare? And I joke with them, I'd say, hey, it's only your home. And if you've got the right rapport with someone, they'll give you kind of like a nervous laugh, release some tension. And it really just kind of shows them that you get it. They're valid for being concerned. And it kind of throws under the bus anyone who tries to like make light or downplay any anxiety they might have about it. So you can get a lot further by validating people than by trying to minimize their concerns.
Oh, I love the objection. Oh, I don't want any holes in my roof. Well, good luck with that because there's already
Yeah.
thousands, hundreds of holes in your roof, right?
Yeah. Nails, flashing's already up there, etc. So it's more about doing it right than not doing it at all.
Okay, so those are simple. We'll move along, and we'll try. We're just keeping this quick and short and fun. And Josh, stay as long as you want, buddy.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna hop out so whoever jumps in next doesn't kick you out.
Yeah. So, like Josh said, you want to jump on in, Cooper? I lost you, buddy. So, I don't know, maybe you got stage fright. But go ahead, jump on in live. You can screenshot this and click on it, or is it? You said you put it in the chat.
I posted as a comment on the Facebook live, so hopefully it showed up where I thought it did.
Any questions you guys have, I will save them and I'll put it in for the following weeks. We are starting off with the basics, and each following week, I'm going to get more and more comprehensive, so that we can really get as many people to understand how the solar works and not feel like it's some crazy thing. Real estate agents sometimes don't think it's an obstacle as opposed to a benefit, and how it can actually help them and help the homeowners. So we really want to get kind of just have a basic understanding of how solar works. All right. One more for you, Josh, and call
Perfect.
it quits on this one.
Number 3, what determines the efficiency of a solar panel and why do some panels perform better than others? Great question.
Yeah, and I'd like to, keep this basic. Like I said, I don't try to nerd out on this with homeowners. I really try to keep it simple. The efficiency of a solar panel is really the percentage of sunlight converted into electricity. There's not much of a difference between solar panels. Yes, the better quality panel, the better manufacturing, you can get better efficiency, but the differences aren't going to be enough to cover the costs too, right? So you have that balance. But if you're getting any panel between 20 to 22% efficiency, you're in the right ballpark for value. Because remember, at the end of the day, solar is about value. It's about putting money in homeowners' pockets, and the better value they can get, the better return on their money they can be able to get. So for me, efficiency, it really comes, and other parts of efficiency is where you place these solar panels, shading, the temperature outside, where it's going to be. What do you think? What else? I missing anything on that, Josh?
I like to talk about how efficiency is somewhat the wattage compared to the size. So even if two panels are 400 watts, if one of them has a higher efficiency number, that module might be a very slightly smaller footprint. And Tetris, that sometimes comes in when you're trying to squeeze in all the panels. But really, as long as you have the wattage number and the total system size and the total energy output, that's what matters. And modern panels do surprisingly well in low light and even some off angle conditions. So like you said, it's all about value. It's really just let's run the numbers and see if it works. And if you don't like it, don't sign up. And I think people just need to see it.
And the difference of solar panels is the commercial solar panels versus resi. A lot of reps, or even a lot of homeowners, but a lot of reps don't even understand how that works. So if a panel is 60 cells, it literally means it has 60 cells. So that's going to be a smaller panel than a 72 cell, because literally has 72 cells. And then there's a 90 cell. Which one do you think is the biggest panel? Right. So it's not just
Absolutely.
how much power a panel has, it's how much power compared to the size of the panel. So don't only look at, oh, I got a 450-watt panel. That may not mean very much if it's a 90 cell panel, right, Josh?
Absolutely. And back to the analogy about, system size and energy output and engine displacement and horsepower. It's, what's your total system size, not just the number of panels. And sometimes a smaller panel might make it easier to kind of Tetris onto your roof and get more total coverage. So it's all about taking people through options.
And that the bottom line is that this is not something that you can really like take it to the wrong place when a homeowner asks kind of question like this. It may
Mhm.
feel like they want to know everything, but really they want to understand the what how it affects their pocket more than
Right.
everything else, and then you understand how it works. So just because you have a lot of knowledge in solar doesn't mean you want to puke it all out either, right? You want to save that information for when it's appropriate to use, right?
It's funny. One of the guys I worked in a bike shop for used to say telling isn't selling, and I love that. I love asking questions, and I love getting customers to ask me questions because I can learn a lot about what they want to know and what their buying motivations are by the type of questions they ask me. So I almost consider that reverse discovery sometimes.
Love that. All right, guys.
All right.
We appreciate you, Josh, being on here.
Appreciate you
You're
too,
the
Joe.
man. It's so much better having a guest on here. When you're by yourself, it's like, who am I talking to?
Absolutely. Wanted to come say hi. Thanks for having me. I'll leave room for who's next.
Josh Resnick with Sungage, baby.
Thanks, Joe. Talk to you soon.
So Tom Goddard says, "What's up, Josh? It's Joe and hey,
Hey
hi,
Tom.
Josh, Joe and Joshua."
See you at SPI.
So, all right. So I want to make sure you guys know. Go ahead, be my next guest on here, or I'll just do this alone. But click. You can screenshot it, click on it, or just type this in the URL. You can join me on here live. So, like I said, I want to make sure I keep this basic and make sure you guys have a basic understanding, so a lot of you guys can feel like they're up to par with us. And a big question I get is, what is the optimal angle and direction for installing solar panels on a roof to maximize energy production? Now, the obvious, I want to make sure, I know it seems obvious, but a lot of people don't know. The most sunlight that's going to happen on your roof is going to be on the southern exposure. There's more sunlight angle towards coming down from the southern exposure. Now, your sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So you want, if you can put solar panels on the southern direction of your roof, there is going to be the most sunlight by far. Now, southern, it doesn't always have the best direction of sunlight, right? You may not have a perfectly southern facing as a roof, or there may be shade or a tree covering it. Then you can use east and west. You're not going to get as much sun on the east or west as opposed to the south. But if you're not getting south, or you ran out of space on the south, then you want to go to the next best thing, which is east or west. Now, if you're in California or you're in states that have a time of use where you can have peak hours and off peak hours, then the second best is the west, because when the sun is setting at night, when the expensive electricity is covering, you can have the sun cover that electricity as opposed to paying it to the utility. So if you have a choice, I'd rather have my solar panels on the west instead of the east. Even if you don't have peak hours or time of use right now, it could happen in the future. Now you're setting up that homeowner for success in the future. So southern is going to be the most critical, and then west is going to be second, then east, and then north. A lot of people don't realize you can actually use northern exposure. It's not actually only for trying to make sure I read all these comments. It's not only for you can't utilize it anymore these days with the efficiency of solar panels and how much is being utilized. It's about 30% less than you're getting on the other side, but you're still getting some power there. So if you don't have space or there's a lot of shade or trees, and the efficiency factor still makes sense, you can definitely utilize the north side too. The angle is between 30 and 45 degrees. You want the angle like really directly hitting your roof from the sun. So you're looking like a 30 to 45-degree angle, depending on where you are in the country. But that's the maximum best exposure. So if you have like a flat roof, you may think, oh, just put it on there flat, and you get the sun coming down on it. But it's actually better if you tilt it towards the south if there's no shade in the area. So the optimal angles and orientation is going to be south, west, east, and then north, and then 30 to 45 degrees. Guys, come on, let's go. Join me on here, baby. You don't want to be a guest? Help me out. Go to this link right here. Just type this in the URL. All right, we are almost done. At number 5, we're only doing 10 questions, so we're going to keep this short and quick, rapid fire. Number 5, can you explain the differences between types of solar panels and when each one might be the best choice? Really, at the end of the day, I explained to you the different size panels with how many cells they have. There's only 2 types of solar panels that I can think of, either the monocrystalline and then the polycrystalline. Monocrystalline is the most popular for residential solar because it's better looking, but they're also just utilized for space more. So usually roofs have space issues. That's where having monocrystalline panels, they look better, and they're better for having any kind of space issues. Now, if you're doing a solar farm and you don't care what they look like, you can get better value with polycrystalline. But for resi, for most 90% of installs, especially on roofs, you're going to go with monocrystalline, which just means one single crystal structure, as opposed to polycrystalline, which means multiple crystal structures. But really important is just to know that mono is more for residential because they're better looking and they're better utilized for space, and polycrystalline is better for like solar fields where you're not really looking at them and you try and get your best bang for your buck. Anybody else want to add anything? Did I miss anything? Go put it in the comments. I see Tom Cotter putting in the comments here. Let's see what he's putting on here. Thanks, Tom, for the input. For NEM3 in PG&E, SCE, and SDG&E, optimal is usually both east and west facing. Yes, so the answer depends on if there's NEM policy and what kind of policy is. NEM2 was best in the west. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate the clarification. If you want to get on here, just go ahead and go to the link right here and join me on here today. I only have a few more questions left. Having some fun up here. Appreciate you guys. If you guys want some more trainings, go to joemoose.com. We're doing a special deal, special discount code for Virtual Solar Club, the largest virtual solar sales training platform in the world. And if you want, go ahead, check it out, joemoose.com. Check out all my links on there, baby. All right. Number 6, we got 4 more on here. All right. Tom's going to try to join on here. Appreciate you, Tom. All right. Number 6. Here we go. You guys ready for this one? How much does shading and high temperatures reduce the efficiency of solar panels, and how can this be mitigated? All right. This is actually a good question because there's a lot of confusion on this because there is issues with shade. You have to be careful with trees being overgrown, being over the roof, covering the southern or east and west sides of solar panels. So it can definitely affect it. Now, obviously, having microinverters and optimizers helps you, right? So if one panel gets affected by shade, it won't affect the whole system the same way, right? But you're still going to have that effect on that one panel, wherever that shade is going to be. So even though it's not affecting the whole system because you have an optimizer or you have a microinverter, it can still affect the solar panel. Even if you're putting it by a chimney, you're putting it by a tree or any kind of shade structure, anything that's going to shade it, it's still going to affect it, but not as much because it won't affect the whole system like it used to. It used to back in the day be like those old Christmas lights. You take one light and all of them would go out. That's how the old inverters. This way, it would not affect them the same way. But temperature is also important because a lot of people think, the hotter the area, the more sun, the better. Actually, you'd be surprised if you I put it in the comments here. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments. Do you think panels are more efficient in Arizona or Colorado? Go ahead, put it in the comments right now. What do you guys think? Are solar panels more efficient in the temperature and heat and weather of Arizona, or is it going to be the climate of Colorado? And yeah, you guys don't know. It's actually Colorado. You would think Arizona because of the sun you're getting, but the heat actually hurts the efficiency of the solar panels as opposed to Colorado. Still getting a lot of sunlight, but you're not getting that heat that's going to affect it. So temperature could definitely affect the efficiency of your solar panels too. But shade is going to be the biggest way. You want to cut down those trees or brush them back, trim them, and design solar panels so that shade doesn't affect it from the beginning, which is a huge thing. All right, depends on the month. Love it, Tom. Depends on month and snow, but in summer it's Colorado, lower temperatures. So that's just one of those things that people would be surprised to hear. So check it out. If the temperature can definitely affect the efficiency of your solar panels. Appreciate you, Tom. All right, here we go. Number 7. If you guys want to join me, go ahead, click on this URL. Join me on your stage live, baby. All right, we're almost done here. We got number 7. Back to the basics, understanding solar energy. What is the typical lifespan of a solar panel? Degradation and what maintenance is required to ensure longevity? Now, this could be controversial, but I'm giving you my opinion of what I think, of what I heard, what I know, my knowledge, my training. And what I've seen is that solar panels can last 40 to 50 years. Now, obviously, that degradation is going to really impact the lifespan of it. It's not going to be 100%. But most solar panels, you can expect about 80% after 25 years. But it's really important to understand this because it's really important to set up homeowners for success in the future. If you're just setting up homeowners with not enough electricity, thinking that, oh, they're going to have good for the next 20, 30 years, they're not. Make sure you know that you're going to lose electricity every year, and the older you get, the more you get into its lifespan, the faster it's going to lose. So after 25 years, you're expecting about 80%, but you might lose 50% after 50 years or something like that. But this is the part I want to make sure you guys understand. Even after 40 to 50 years, and you have grandkids or whatever in the house, you're still gonna have half the amount of electricity. But imagine what the electricity is going to cost in 40 to 50 years. Even if you have half your electricity, I'm still going to want to keep that because it's going to be so valuable, even half the amount. So understanding that the utilities rates are still going higher and higher and higher, and there's no ending in sight, that you're still going to have value, even though the panels will degrade over time. And the maintenance is really at the end of the day is cleaning off the solar panels with a hose, making sure that dust doesn't build up over time. Solar panels are dumb. They don't do much. They lay there on the roof, not causing much havoc. But inverters are really crucial to understand. They don't last the same lifespan as solar panels. Inverters are more like the computer part of the system, right? You don't see laptops lasting 25, 30, 40, 50 years, right? So it's important to understand that the inverters could last, 15, 20, 25 years kind of max. And then they're going to go out. So you want to have good warranties or understand how the inverters work. Solar panels, lifespan of solar panels is different than inverters, but it's crucial to understand this. So you're also setting up the homeowners for the right information and for success. Any question on that? Did I answer that? Did I miss anything, Tom, or anybody else? Let me know if there's anything else I should add on to that. If you guys want, get on here. If you want to just, instead of going on the comments, just click on the URL. Just type it in. Get on here with me. I recommend washing off solar panels with the tiers of utility executives. Love that answer. Let's go, baby. They're not crying. They're crying for happiness right now with the way they're getting off in California. But the good thing is rates are still going higher and higher, and the homeowners still need a lot of help throughout the country. But you guys want to join me? Let's go. All right. So we only have a couple more on here. Number 8, we have, what are the differences between string inverters, microinverters, and power optimizers, and when should each be used? So there's two main options in the industry. We have string inverters with power optimizers, or we have microinverters. So the inverter's job obviously is to convert your electricity from unusable DC electricity to usable AC electricity. Now, with this, you're going to have a difference in how the inverters actually work. Now, one of the major solutions that microinverters and optimizers solve is that, like I was saying earlier, if one panel gets shaded by a tree or if one panel goes out, that only that one panel would get affected. The other panels won't get affected by it. So that is solved on each one. But there's still major differences between these types of inverters. So a string inverter means a single inverter on the side of the house. And they're going to have optimizers underneath each solar panel. So what happens is if that string inverter goes out, the whole system goes out. And that's a major concern, major worry for homeowners because they don't want to worry if an inverter goes out, the whole system going out, right? So that's a major concern. With microinverters, if one panel goes out or one inverter goes out, that's the only one going to be affected. It's like each panel is a mini solar system. But there's pros and cons. With the string inverter with optimizers, because of the way it converts electricity, you're going to have a percentage or a couple of percentage points more electricity throughout the year. If that inverter works and there's no problems with your system and everything is in good shape, you're actually going to get more electricity throughout the year with a string inverter with optimizers. But with the microinverter system, you may get a couple of points less electricity, but you have less worries. If your system inverter goes down, that's only one is going to go down. The whole system's still going to work. Having each panel be a mini solar system can really be advantageous to homeowners, but some homeowners want more electricity. So understanding the differences between inverters can help you set them up for success. Some companies only have one option. Either way, your system's they're gonna work fine. They're very, very similar to each other. You just want to make sure you have strong warranties, that there's any issues that they get fixed right away, and you won't have any issues with either one. But understanding the difference from string inverter being a single inverter on the side of the house, and then microinverters being a mini inverters underneath each solar panel with an envoy on the side of the house. So that's the biggest difference between microinverters and string inverters and the power optimizers. If anybody wants to add something, let me know. I'm almost done. I need one more person to get on here so we can do one more question before we wrap it up. Right here, click on the link, type it into URL. You guys having fun? Go in the comments, say what's up. Rick Walsh wants to jump in. What's up, Rick? String inverters normally have less warranties, 10 years versus 25 years. Very good point. That is a huge difference. And when you have less warranties, they don't last as long. You can pay extra to get the 25-year warranty or 15-year warranty, or I think it's 25-year, you get that, but you're paying for the extra because if that does go out, they could just pay to fix it up. Thanks, Rick. All right, we got a couple left, and we're gonna bounce it for the night. This one I wanted to make sure I added in here before we end it up for this week. We're just back to the basics, solar sales Q&A. Let's go over. Can you explain how net metering works and why it's beneficial for solar system owners? All right, this is so crucial to understand net metering, and if a utility doesn't have net metering and how that affect the homeowner. So like I was saying earlier, net metering is when the solar system is producing excess electricity. So your home is producing electricity when the sunlight's out, but your home doesn't need all that electricity, right? It's building up so much. You got so much sunlight that you need to have that extra electricity go somewhere. That's it. That's what net metering is. Net metering is going to be where the grid takes that electricity. And you have to understand the utilities, they have to pay for this infrastructure. They got to keep up with these grids and these lines. And it's not free. So for the, for solar industry, we have to understand that we are putting this electricity back in the grid because we have to, we need it. Unless a homeowner has a battery or a storage system. So we're utilizing that grid. But now the utility has this power trip. They're like, hey, I got your electricity. Now I could charge you whatever I want to give it back to you. And so now, depending on what net metering law rule you have, they can mitigate how much electricity, how much that's going to cost you. And that's where, batteries can come in. And I'll answer that in the next question, where you can actually have that store electricity at the cheapest times and export it at the expensive times. So net metering is just the exchange of electricity from the homeowner's solar system to the grid and back and forth, and how much that's going to cost the homeowner. Because if the numbers make sense, we're going to have a homeowner paying less money to go solar over some span or whatever lifespan it is. So it's really to understand how net metering works is look at California. California went from net metering 2.0, which I was screaming to the top of my lungs to everybody. Net metering 2.0 was bananas. There's never been anything like that. I don't think we'd ever see anything like that again. Right? It was just ridiculous how good net metering 2.0. It wasn't even fair to the utility, to be honest, right? At the end of the day, they saw that as a ridiculous deal. They were just getting such amazing deals for homeowners. So net metering 3.0 just changed it, where now homeowners must utilize batteries or time of use. And that's where you can get less grid stress. And that's what they really care about. I'm trying to make sure you guys understand the utilities point of view so that you can understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to help the grid by having homeowners get batteries to help relieve the tension to the grid, as opposed to everybody, utilizing the grid at the same time. And that's where they have issues. So understanding how that net metering law works in your utility is crucial. Net metering is completely different at every utility almost throughout the country. Your California utilities is going to be completely different net metering than your Texas, or completely different than Illinois, or completely different than New Jersey. And if you want to start selling solar in other territories or states that's outside your understanding, do not think all utilities are the same. Net metering is completely different from each other, and the better you can understand the net metering law of your utility, the better you're going to set up the homeowner for success, not just today, but keep going into the future. And the utilities also have certain deadlines, how long the net metering lasts, making sure homeowners can be locked into these deals for a long time. If you guys have any questions on net metering, please go ahead and put in the comments. And if you guys have any comments or questions you want in future live streams, go ahead, put those questions. I see, Glenn, I got your question here. I'm going to save that for another week. But you guys have any other questions, go in there. All right, my last one. Anybody's going to jump in here? I'm doing number 10. If you guys want to join me, go ahead to StreamYard.com and click on the URL. But if you guys don't know, joemoose.com, I got so many deals going on. We're doing the virtual solar club. If you guys want to get live trainings multiple times during the week by yours truly, by Josh King, the virtual solar club, the top solar sales virtual platform in the world. We're doing multiple live streams, trainings every week, giving you all the tools, all the software you need to really make money from home on day one selling solar. So if you guys don't know, go to joemoose.com. There's a special discount code right there for you. And you can do a strategy session with yours truly, joemoose.com. All right, here we go. Last one. What role do batteries play in a solar system, and when should they be considered essential? This is so crucial to understand. Batteries are not being utilized everywhere in the country. Now, to me, just for my understanding, the way I explain it, there's really two main jobs of a battery that's really helping homeowners out. The first one obviously is storage, where you're getting, a backup power, but backup power is more of a luxury. It's not essential. It's not something that homeowners are needing. It's going to replace electricity. It gives them an extra cost that's going to be not making their money back, right? But the other part of a smart battery is time of use. And today, you can get a battery just does time of use. And what that means is they and because it's a smart battery, it's going to be able to take that electricity at those cheap times and export it at the expensive times. So that's where it's going to pay for itself. And in California right now, I don't think there's anybody selling a solar system that's not getting a time of use battery or a full backup and time of use battery with their systems. The cool thing about time of use batteries is that they're half the cost of these full power, backup power, time of use batteries. But it's crucial to make sure the homeowners understand if they're getting a smart battery that is just time of use and they're not getting backup power, that they know about that. Do not make sure homeowners know about if it's a backup power or not, because that could happen where you're telling a homeowner, oh yeah, it's backup power, it's time of use, and it's end up only being time of use. So if you're looking at a system where you need to cover peak hours and off peak hours, what you're really looking for is time of use. Now, what happens, like I said, is that it takes the electricity, the cheap times, the cheapest electricity, stores it in the battery, those cheap times, so that when those expensive times come, you can utilize that electricity instead of the expensive times with the utility. So it's a way to arbitrage your electricity. And that's where you're going to see kind of the future of solar become more of a system where you're going to have storage to help alleviate some of the stress from the grid. That's where batteries come in. So batteries can come in two parts. You can have for backup, and I know there's lots of homeowners who want backup with their systems. I've sold a lot of them, and you get those doomsdayers, and people just want that luxury. They're willing to pay the extra money. There's no problem with that. But understanding if you're just looking for time of use and covering off peak and peak hours, then you want to look at those time of use batteries. Did I miss anything, guys? Anything else should I add in there? Go ahead, put in the comments. What role do batteries play in a solar system? And really what's essential these days is understanding that if you have net metering, and it might feel like it's expensive, it doesn't make sense, adding a time of use battery can really change things. They're not expensive and they really pay for themselves. So understanding how time of use batteries is really, really crucial. All right. You guys have fun? Anything else that I miss? Go ahead and put in the comments, say what's up, say goodbye. Appreciate you guys being on here. We're going to do this, every week, every Tuesday. Next week, we're going to look at how to explain solar to homeowners, explain the process, understand how to ask the right questions to the homeowners to find out what help they need, so that we're going to be a little more interactive next week. But today I wanted to go over the basics of solar energy and how it works. So I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys liked it, go ahead, put in the comments. Make sure you share, subscribe, whatever you want to do, all the good stuff, baby. Let's go. Before I go, guys, go to joemoose.com. I got so many cool deals in there, so many links. If you guys don't know about SolarCon, check out attendsolarcon.com. Check out Virtual Solar Club. We're doing some special discounts right now. You can check out all my cool links or set up a strategy session with me. Let's go. Check out joemoose.com, guys. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. We'll do this again next week. Over and out. Peace.